Part 1, what causes the fight between Psquare and Jude? Yeah, a lawyer's perspective. So in they tell us as a lawyer what causes their fight. So let's listen to her. I combined the part 1, 2, and 3 together. So let's watch.
It took me 3 years to listen to this story and have a perspective. So don't expect a lawyer's perspective in one part. I'm certainly going to have 3 parts. So the first part, what caused the fight between Psquare and Jude? Did you notice that family trust replaced formal governance? There was no clear structure, just brotherly love and trust, and this was the genesis of their problems. 2, did you also notice that ownership and management were not clearly separated? The fact that you're managing my business doesn't make you the owner of the business, and I'm not sure Jude was informed of this at all. 3, there was no periodic review and auditing of financial statements, because if there was a monthly review of income and expenditures, then all this would have been discovered long ago and it wouldn't have come this far. 4, did you also notice that there was no document defining who Psquare is? Whether it is Peter and Paul, or Peter and Paul and Jude. There was no document stating their roles, their obligations, their rights, their liabilities. Otherwise, they would have just fallen back to that document. There was no document stating what happens if someone leaves, and that is usually called an exit clause. There was no document stating how disputes will be resolved, usually called a dispute resolution clause. And that is why Psquare had to come to the media to make us his judge. There was so much inference here and there rather than documentation. I think, I didn't think, I asked. No documentation means no certainty. Now, the Psquare story is not a warning against doing business with your family. It is a warning against undocumented power. In business, love may start a journey, talent may create the value, but structure is what preserves everything. If you can't explain who owns the brand, who controls the money, who can sign and who cannot sign, you don't have a business, you have a hope. Trust is not enough to build a business. The moment millions are involved, that love must now be documented, because relationships change. It was no longer rosy, and documents were not strong enough to answer the new questions that came up. So having a contract does not mean I don't trust you. It simply means I want us to remember this same thing 10 years from now. So part 2, if I were Peter, what would I have done differently, and what would I do now? Now to the biggest red flags in this story, a second company with a similar name. If Northside Music Limited existed, together with Northside Entertainment Limited, this is not a problem. The question here is, what was Northside Music created for? What are the objectives of that company? We need to look at the memorandum of association to know what the company was created for, and look at the activities. Were they doing what they were created for, or were they called Northside Music only on paper and acting as if they were Northside Entertainment? The money coming into Northside Music, was it based off the work carried out by them, or the work carried out by Northside Entertainment? Because we can't have Northside Entertainment managing Psquare and Northside Music is receiving the royalty for Northside Entertainment. There is a lacuna here, and these things are not hard. All we need to do is simply trace the records, unless the records don't want to be seen, because your company objectives will determine the income that is coming into your company. And seriously, these names are very similar. On a normal day, should you approve it? Are you not supposed to say a company with similar name already exists, please change name? Unless they are able to provide an evidence of affiliation with Northside Entertainment. As you are Peter, what would I have done differently? 1, I would have a founders agreement. This agreement will state, what are we all contributing? Are we singing? Are we dancing? Are we clapping? What does Peter own? What does Paul own? What does Jude own? And how would the profits be shared? 2, I would have a management agreement, because if Jude is the manager, to define his powers, to limit his powers, is to tell him his fees, his duty to report to the shareholders. 3, I would have a royalty collection and distribution agreement. This one will state which account to receive which royalty, and who has the right to change an aggregator instruction, and how those statements should be issued. 4, I would have a dual banking resolution, so that no single person will be able to change or redirect the major revenue streams. Nobody should be able to change account information personally to have to be with the approval of a couple of people. 5, I would also have annual independent audits, aside the monthly review, and these audited statements will be circulated to all the shareholders, all of us, every single year. Because the truth is that it's not only the contract that will protect you, the major thing is the information symmetry. There should be a proper chain, the in-passing of information. Anything that is coming in should not be coming into one source, it should be spread across different sources, so that one person is not changing information and the other person has to rely on the trust they have on one person to give them the information. The information symmetry should be able to accommodate other recipients of the same information at the same time. Another major red flag, one letterhead used for 2 different companies. I'm seeing chats flying around and I'm honestly confused. Do you not know that sharing people's private messages or their chats is a violation of the Nigerian Data Protection Act? Even if it's on a group chat, and it's a breach of their right to privacy of communication, guaranteed under Section 37 of the Constitution. We are not taking this thing seriously enough, and that is why it is becoming a norm. People can just wake up and share people's private messages, taking its evidence because you're catching crews or trying to take revenge. Someone sends you a message and the next thing, the entire country is reading that message with you, with a commentary or background music or even an episode breakdown. You will have turned the internet into African Magic Premium. But let me say this as a lawyer, a private chat is not public property. Yes, you can keep your screenshots if you need to protect yourself. You can use them if you're reporting a crime. You can use them if you're going to court. But posting someone's messages online for cruise, for revenge, for clout, or entertainment, or whatever, it's a completely different matter. What do you mean by full evidence soon, episode 2 loading, you all will cry? Come on. At this point, you're no longer protecting yourself or fighting for justice. You are producing a documentary. If everybody starts posting everybody's private conversation online, none of us will be able to text anymore. Privacy is not a favor, it is a right. So before you post that screenshots, ask yourself, am I seeking justice or am I seeking engagement? If you are seeking justice, keep your evidence and take it to court. From the Temple of Justice, I am the Law Preacher. Bye-bye.
On the table of justice, I am the law preacher. Bye. I just thought I wanted to share, guys, because she said 3, and I know see the part 3. Maybe she go still do the part 3. And I saw that one, I thought that was part of it, and I add them to the video. I'm sorry, it's a different video altogether, the last one. But yeah, see, from a lawyer's perspective, that's her own take on the Peter, Paul, and Jude Buhaha. I just thought I wanted to share. Let me know your own take in the comment section, and guess what? We move.